Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Hello again, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley. Welcome to another edition of Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Shaq Allen Mercandone Studios. I've had a lot of conversations with sponsors that were with us all through football season. They love what we're doing. The numbers have been great. They're staying with us for I think all of them so far. There's a couple still going to contact, and that's great. But if somebody else wants to get involved in any kind of sponsorship, we've got a lot of options for you. Don't forget to give me a call. Don't forget to watch on Facebook, YouTube, and also all the podcast things. It's amazing. I had my first visit to Visors last night. Yeah, we had a going away party for I think almost everybody at the Gainesville Sun. I think it was like there's two guys left. Yeah, but mostly it was for Arnold Feliciano in my mind, who's been was my boss for so long. I love that guy to death. Best boss you could ever have, and Cindy Swerko, of course, is leaving. Mickey Anderson's left. There's not much there. And I'm not going to get into the politics, not the politics, but the economics of why everybody's leaving newspapers. And we all know. I mean, I left. And it's just the way things look. To me, not having printed newspapers is tragic as college football players not getting paid to play. In other words, you can live, or you can live with that, and you can go, look, nobody's getting their news this way, so we've got to evolve. I think in a lot of ways, the Gainesville Sun was slow to evolve. College football was slow to evolve. Most newspapers were slow to evolve. So they're kind of similar in that way, and that's enough preaching about my genius here. But anyway, we spent the night, well, not the whole night, but we did close down a bar this week. We closed down Ballyhoo, which is the first time I've done that in maybe, 15 years maybe, closed down a bar. We had a good time. We had at least two sponsors from the golf tournament there too. So there you go. All right, so great show today. Greg McGarrity is going to join us, and many of you know Greg very well. Greg, of course, was the AD here, assistant AD under Jeremy Foley, basically his right-hand man for, I think it was 18 years, which I was surprised when I was kind of looking up some numbers. And then 10 years as the AD at Georgia, hired Kirby Smart. So all Gator fans probably hate him for that. And now is the CEO of the Gator Bowl. So we're going to talk to him about the bowl, the future of bowl games and where they are. They've got a good bowl game, but already the quarterback opted out, and that's what's happened in a lot of playing. But the one thing we want to talk about today, the most important thing really is what happened on signing day. And I know we're 2 days removed from it. A lot even has still happened since then. It was a signing day that kind of got everybody, the people that were kind of on the fence about Napier, now are completely on the other side of the fence because he had this incredible class, even though they don't have that many players. But when you heard him talk, it wasn't like he was bragging. It was like he was saying, "We're not done, man. I'm just telling you what our goal is." And you continue to hear Florida keeps leaking out every day new hires. And the one that they leaked out, or not, when I say leaked out, they post them on Twitter and everything. The latest is Katie Turner. And Katie Turner, for those of you who don't know, has been basically the head of recruiting at Georgia. Now, the head of recruiting is Kirby Smart, and the head of recruiting now is Billy Napier at Florida. But the person in charge of recruiting was Katie Turner, and for the last couple of years, and now she's coming to Florida. And that's a big deal. I know a lot of people have talked about, not a lot of people, the 45 people that pay attention to these things, how Georgia hired away Florida's nutritionist. And they made a big deal out of that. And there's rumors she may be coming back. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's what they're trying to do. look, they have gotten Georgia's attention. But I caution people in this way. It doesn't mean that they are going to, all of a sudden, Florida's going to out-recruit Georgia. Florida just needs to recruit as good as Georgia. They need to recruit as good as A&M, as good as LSU. Not better than, just try to even aspire to that. You're so far behind in terms of numbers. And so we see the first class, very small class of 9, come in and we go, okay, this guy's serious about what he's doing. And you can tell there is a fire in his eyes. And, you know, there's been coaches that have been through here that the fire kind of went up and down, dimmed sometimes. I don't think the fire is dimming in this guy. I really don't. He's got that, even though it doesn't kind of come over in press conferences, because in press conferences, he's really doesn't want to really answer your questions. I mean, he just wants to tell you how great everybody is around him. That's his goal. But when he gets analytical about heights, weights, arm strength, that's when he's at his best, I think. I'm hoping to sit down with him. I talked to Scott Strickland the other day about saying, hey, it'd be great. I know I'm just me now. I used to be Pat Dooley. Now I'm just Pat Dooley. So there's a big difference. It's like I used to be Pat Dooley. Now I'm Pat Dooley. And actually, I was never Pat Dooley, as you know. All right, so we've got that to talk about, and also him building his staff. As I said, it keeps coming out slowly, and I keep telling people the idea for Billy Napier in building his staff is not to hire the people you want to hire. It's to hire the people he wants to hire. There's a big difference. He wants to hire certain people. And again, Katie Turner worked with him. Josh. He knew what's his name? God, the wide receiver coach, Kerry Colbert from USC. He had worked with him at Alabama when he was an assistant there, and Kerry Colbert was his person. What do you call it when you're like a grad assistant type guy? Quality control. There's so many terms now with college football. I mean, we got 904 coaches. Only 10 of them can wear headsets, and we can't explain what this guy does. He gets the bagels, but see, that's the thing. We can make fun of that. That's what Billy's trying to do here. He's trying to do what Alabama and Georgia are doing already, and he's trying to do it here so that Florida's exactly the same. And maybe better. Never know. Okay, so the other thing I did want to talk about, it's impossible not to talk about the elephant in the room of people are looking at me like I am the elephant in the room. I'm not an elephant. I am a human being. But the Urban Meyer thing, it's so depressing to me because I like Urban Meyer, and I've gotten along with him all through my life. And we were going to have him eventually on the podcast, and I was looking forward to that. Ask him a lot. I would probably ask him a couple tough questions. But I thought Robbie Andrew had the best line. He said it on the radio this week. Because Jeff was gone, so we did a bunch of different guest hosts. And Robbie said, Urban treated college kids like pros and pro athletes like college kids. And man, he nailed that right on the head because that's exactly what he did. When he was here, if you're a really good player, you got treated differently than everybody else. You got things. You got to get away with things. When he got to the NFL, all of a sudden he's treating people like he's still a college coach. I look, the demise, when you think about it, you think about the demise of two coaches who were as close as anybody could be, and Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen, within 3 months. I've never saw anything like Dan Mullen. I certainly haven't ever seen anything like Urban Meyer. Guy, they do everything. We're going to build you. We're going to build you a Taj Mahal facility, whatever. We're going to do everything we want. We're going to give you all the money you can take. And within 13 games, what are they? 2-11. You're fired. You're fired because you kicked the kicker, which was so ironic, I guess, because of all the other things you've done. They were just tired of them. And look, I know it's another argument against college coaches coaching the NFL, but it's just what happened. Now, the one thing that we talk about a lot, and I've talked about many times, is the Ring of Honor. And look, obviously, Urban Meyer ain't getting a Ring of Honor or anything else named Honor for a long time. That is, look, I thought Florida, why do I keep saying look? I think people have catchphrases now, and like the Billy Napier catchphrase is right. Saban is I. Mine is whatever it is. I don't know. All right, so I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, Ring of Honor. Yeah, Ring of Honor. Okay, so Ring of Honor, not going to happen. Now, might it happen someday? Yes. I think outside of Urban Meyer checking into a clinic to find out what the hell is wrong with him and why he would take a job and do so many silly, stupid things, it's going to be hard. There's going to have to be a recovery story, and I will write it. And that's the only way he's going to get in. And, Florida handled that thing the exactly perfect way in terms of bringing him back for a game, for the Miami game, bringing him back, putting him in Gator stuff, putting him in the on the field for the first game of this year with Spurrier introducing him. Florida handled the right way to kind of ease him into the Ring of Honor slowly, with just a little bit of Crisco oil on each side. And then he went, nah, I don't want to get in, I guess. Maybe that was his answer. All right, we're going to take a break. We got so much to get to, a lot of things to talk about, including what's going on with COVID. Unfortunately, we still have to talk about that. 3 things by Handlaw, Adams, Ripco to go, Gator of the Week, Leonardo's Quick Picks, Ballyhoo, Dar Insurance, and Ironwood, this, that, and the other, our favorite thing. We love doing that. And the Hester and Kipke games of the weekend. We got a lot of games for that. We got a ton to talk about, but I can't wait to talk when we come back from break to my good friend Greg McGarrity, the CEO of the Gator Bowl, former athletic director at Georgia, former assistant athletic director, but he did all the heavy lifting at the University of Florida as well. We'll talk to him when we come back right after this break on Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Shackow and Mercandani Studios.
Car accidents, trucking accidents, motorcycle accidents, and wrongful death. If injured or killed by the negligence of others, who will fight for the compensation you deserve? Shackow and Mercadante, 5 lawyers, more than 100 years of combined legal experience, millions in settlements and verdicts. Call Shackow and Mercadante, 371-3000. Rebuilding lives.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it. The Gainesville Quarterback Club wants you to be a member. The football season is over, except for the bowl game, of course, but they are taking applications to be a member, and there is another one in the spring where they have the first spring game where they have the head coach, Billy Napier. You will be there, I would assume. Maybe our first chance to really talk to him. I'm looking forward to that one. But they're taking applications for the oldest quarterback club in the Gator Nation. Simply email a request to membership@qbclub.org, or just email me, or just call me. You know how to get a hold of me, 317-3444. My number may be the most known number in the world. It's like right behind 867-5309. But don't worry about it. Call me. I will get you hooked up with the right people. I'm recommending it. All right, and welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Shack Allen Mercandani Studios. And I know that my next guest really likes the way I'm plugging all these things, because now he is the CEO of the Gator Bowl, where he is always trying to get corporate sponsors and that kind of thing. So you know about the selling part now. Well, though you knew it as an athletic director too.
Yeah, but as athletic director, I had other people really hustling, okay? And I hired people to hustle and solicit donations. Now, the shoe's on the other foot, so I'm out there pounding the pavement for some community support.
Well, I went up and spoke to the Gator Bowl, and this is Greg McGarrity, of course, the CEO of the Gator Bowl, and, of course, former Florida assistant AD and former Georgia athletic director for 10 years. But when I went up there and spoke to the Gator Bowl group, I was stunned to find out that Alex is working for you in a class act of nepotism. What is he, like 35 now? I mean, this was just a kid. What happened?
Well, let's just set the record straight, okay? It's reverse nepotism, okay? Because he's been here like 7 years, okay?
Oh.
So I'm a new guy. But no, it's been a lot of fun. I wanted to make sure I navigated things properly, because I've seen how nepotism doesn't work in many cases. And so I've learned on how things don't work, and I've been able to learn. And Alex has certainly earned his stripes here, and we're a small group. We only have 6 full-time staff members, so we have to get along, and I'm just kind of letting them lead the way and making sure we're staying between the ditches.
Let me ask you this. We're looking at a weird world right now, and you obviously have a bowl game where the starting quarterback, one of the starting quarterbacks isn't going to play. I know that I think it's the Peach Bowl, 2 Heisman finalists aren't going to play. It's unbelievable, but it is what it is, and you just kind of have to kind of deal with it, right? You have to either evolve or get out of the way.
Yeah, you don't want a few people to really ruin things. And I know these individuals that opt not to play are looking out for themselves, but it is the new world. But I've always said you've got 80 kids on scholarship, and then you have another 40 as walk-ons. So they may not be at that level of play, but certainly they're going to be people that want to play in the game, and they're going to be representative of the school. So I don't worry too much about it, Pat. If they don't want to play, you certainly don't want them here. If they don't want to go full speed, you don't want them here. But I promise you, a second stringer or a third stringer or even a walk-on, you give them the chance to play in a bowl game, you're going to get a great effort as opposed to someone that might be trying to dodge an injury or things like that. So I don't let the minority ruin it for the majority of these young men that want to come and maybe play football for the last time together.
First of all, is it hard to step into Rick Catlett's shoes? Because I know, he's one of my best friends. So just so you know.
Absolutely. Rick he's taken me under his wing, and I talk to Rick very often. It's one of those situations where you've got sort of a legend in the bowl business, and
sure,
you want to pick his brain, and he knows if he thinks I'm doing something outside the line, so to speak, in the bowl world, he's strong enough to call me and say, "Hey, Greg, let's talk about this." But I lean on him tremendously because he is so highly regarded in the bowl business and college athletics, and so I've got a lot of work to do to live up to his standards and what he has done for almost 3 decades.
It is an interesting bowl game. You're talking about a Texas A&M team that really. And it's kind of funny because I know you were listening to the Georgia-Alabama game and rooting for Georgia as a former AD there, but at the same time, if Georgia loses, 2 teams get in, your slot goes up one, you end up with a really good Texas A&M team.
Yeah, and granted, Texas A&M, there'd probably a lot more juice around their program if they had beaten LSU and had 9 wins.
Yeah.
But really. Pat, we're doing okay with ticket sales. I wish A&M would do better, but it kind of gets back to big brands, and I've always thought that big brands travel whether you're going through a rough patch or you're really on in high moments of your program. So, we're hoping that A&M will show up and have a really good crowd. But Wake has really responded very well. And they have it's an easier drive, obviously, but certainly things are changing a little bit, and maybe it may be too difficult for A&M people to get down here. But we're hoping that there's a lot of pickup in sales for A&M.
Here's the deal. I've got your solution totally. Okay, you ready? All this NIL stuff. I mean, you guys can get involved in that. Fly all the recruits from this number 1 recruiting class in and just parade them around the field. You will pack that place with Texas A&M fans. I promise you.
I don't know if that's really in the cards right now, especially since they haven't even enrolled in school, okay? But no, hopefully that'll bring some juice to their program, obviously with their starting running back and the quarterback not playing and one of their defensive linemen not playing. They're deep enough to make up for that. I don't know about quarterback, though, but, it's just a wild world. And certainly some bowls will have better attendance than others, and some will struggle in some situations compared to what it used to be. But, the main thing is to be able to survive and move on to the next year and get the best matchup you can.
Is it the big question that I know everybody has about the bowls right now is if we go to this 12, and who knows? I mean, again the Power 5 conferences can't even get together on one little thing, but if we go to that, how much is that going to hurt the bowls? And I'm a guy that would watch a bowl game. I watched the Bahamas Bowl this morning already. So what do you think? How are you guys strategizing about the way things could change in the next 3 or 5 years?
You really pay attention, and I don't think they're going to do anything until this current contract expires, which goes through 25-26 season, because you just hear there's some uncertainty in the room. But, if they went to 12 rooms and if they played those first 4 games on a campus site, that probably eliminates, certain bowls. and then you'd be regular in your 6 New Year's Day bowls now. I don't know if I foresee the Cotton Bowl coming out of that and being replaced, or the Rose Bowl, or the Sugar Bowl, or the Orange Bowl. I think really what it does, it puts you in a position, if you have the right infrastructure in place in your community, to at least be in that conversation. Now, that may not lead to one of the games, but sometimes I think you have a better chance at getting the national championship game, which we know is in Indiana this year. They don't have a bowl game there.
Right.
So I think if you can position yourself to be among the big players, and that's a heavy lift, because you're competing against, stadiums like Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Atlanta. So I know that Shad Khan has, big goals here in Jacksonville, and really for that to happen, there's got to be a lot of change here, and I'm hopeful that will happen within the next decade.
It's kind of been a weird few days for you, because you worked right alongside Urban Meyer for all those years, and now all of a sudden, and I'm sure you had contact with him as the Jaguar coach, and then to see him go, that was a bizarre situation, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll say so. To wake up one morning and hear on the local news that there had been a change made, Pat, but I just maybe think the inability to adapt to that environment really just created some unusual circumstances. And we've seen people have success going from college to the pros, and some that haven't. So there's not a really a blueprint that you have there. I think we all know that trying to improve the roster here is a challenge right now. I mean, they have a transformational quarterback, but as we all know, if you don't have the big guys up front, you don't have the targets to throw to and weapons, you can't win at any level unless you have the right pieces of the puzzle. And, there's a lot of work to be done here in Jacksonville, but if anybody can do it, Shad Khan can do that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about your time, a little bit quickly about your time at Florida, because you were here when it got good, and when it got good for a long time. And I remember, you can take full credit for what happened here, from 06 to 08 too, by the way. But I remember when after the 08 football championship, and I was talking to Jeremy, and he said, why can't it keep going like this? I go, it's not gonna. Nobody's ever done that. And the amazing thing is, nobody's even come close to doing what that Florida team did in football and basketball. It was an incredible run, and what a ride to be on during that time.
Well, I thank my lucky stars, Pat, because I got there in 92. So from 92 to 2000 was as much fun as our family has ever had with Steve and Jerry and the coaches. I mean, those were, you can't really, those times were absolutely magical. And then, we had a little transition in there, and then Urban kind of came in there and set us at new heights. So, the job that Billy did was just unmatched. And so, to be a part of it at that time was just so rewarding. And you look back on it, and you're right. Those things don't happen very often. And when they do, you have to kind of pinch yourself and say, it really can't get any better than that. But let's just be thankful we were able to experience that, because a lot of schools aspire to do that, and they don't understand how hard it is, or fans don't understand. But the stars aligned during that period of time, and that 18-year span was absolutely magical.
Really was. And then you went and hired Kirby Smart. Now Gator fans hate you. So, but what? No, I'm just kidding. But did you see this kind of recruiting success in Kirby? And because other people have hired Saban proteges and it hadn't worked out. Yep. What did you see, and what do you see? Because Mark Richt was a good recruiter, but Kirby's taking it to a different level.
Well, we knew how he recruited the state of Georgia at Alabama. His dad, Sonny, was such a great high school coach in this state. And, the blood runs deep in the Smart family here. And, Pat, I think it was so critical to have an alumni come back, because he knows everything about the institution. He's Terry College grad. He played all SEC academic. I mean, you name it. He was so successful in that area, and you always hope things work out. And so there's sort of a level of confidence you have, and with all the individuals that really knew Kirby, just had so many great things to say about him as a person. But for anybody to stay on Coach Saban's staff for a decade, and the way
Right.
Coach Saban really admired and appreciated the work Kirby did, you just knew the elements had to work. But, every hire is kind of a crapshoot. You just have to be lucky that you hire the right person, because, no owner, no AD's ever batted 1,000. And so I can't be more proud of what Kirby's done, but more so about the way he's done it. And a lot of his coaches now are moving on to head jobs. And so I think that's indicative of a great culture. To see Dan get a job at Oregon and Sam at Arkansas, they all harken back to the days under Kirby's leadership. And, I couldn't be more proud of the way things are turning out for Kirby. And, one of these days, who knows when, but one of these days he'll knock on that door and it'll open. I don't know what year that'll be, but for Georgia to be in this rare air for 5 straight years out of Kirby's 6 years is very, very reassuring.
Yeah, and it's been very difficult for Gator fans to have not only deal with not being in that air, but their arch rival. And it's kind of funny, Greg. I don't know how you felt when you were here, like FSU, Tennessee, Georgia. The way they kind of revolve around being the biggest rival for Florida. But there's no question Georgia is now.
Yeah, and Georgia, the same way. I mean, you play Tennessee, and that's a big rival. Auburn, Georgia Tech. I mean, a lot of schools feel that way about Georgia as well. So there's some natural rivalries that are created over time, and each school has their own. And I used to say, don't worry about one or the other, because a loss against Vanderbilt's just like a loss against Florida. So you've got to now you cannot afford a letdown, because we know what can happen if you don't bring your A game in any sport, at any type of conference competition, because people are always aiming at you for the SEC. We have a big target on our back.
Yeah, and look, it's not getting any easier in this conference. They're going to add those 2 teams. I know that you're watching this as an observer like I am, but do you think they'll go to no divisions and just go 1 through 16?
Pat, you'd have to get a waiver to be able to have a championship game at that point if you don't have divisional play. Now, I'm sure you may be able to, but I think that if you go anything over 8 games, Pat, it's going to really create some difficulties with future scheduling. I know Kirby's, our attitude at Georgia was to play 3 Power 5 schools outside the conference,
right,
with future games. And so you've got one bye game, or one game that a guarantee game. But to be able to not play one of those non-conference games after looking forward to it, I mean, if we had to do away with like the Notre Dame series, that would have been very difficult. I'm so glad that Georgia was able to play that 2-game series, because those were just incredible events. And if you aren't able to experience that, that's unfortunate. So I don't know what they're doing in the AD room as far as future scheduling, but I'm glad I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
Last question for you. How do you like living back in Florida after spending 10 years? I mean, I love Athens. It's one of my favorite towns in the world. But to be back in Florida and be on the what do they call it? The First Coast over there in Jacksonville?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we had so many fond memories of being in Ponte Vedra when we were with Florida. We always stayed at the Marriott Sawgrass, and heck, we'd come over for a long weekend over the Marriott, and there's so many things to do here. Very rarely do we go across the Intercoastal unless it's for me to come in to work at the stadium here. But it's a great area. We love it, and it's just a great place to live.
It is, and luckily, you haven't had to deal with my brother showing up at your looking for something yet.
That's okay.
I got 2 brothers and a sister who all live up there, so
Good.
I'm sure they will be going to the Gator Bowl too, and it should
they
be a
need
great
tickets?
game.
Do they need
They may
tickets to the
need
game?
them. Yeah, I'll hook them up with you.
I can cut them a deal, okay?
Okay. Greg, it's always great to talk to you, man. I love talking to you. You've been a good friend for a long time. Think about, I didn't even realize that you were here 18 years. You were there 10, and then you were at, now you've been there, what, like 2? So that's.
I was in 15 years at Georgia before the 18 years at Florida.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's 30 years you and I have known each other now.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I think I used to string for you at the Jacksonville Journal. Seriously.
You did.
As a student at Georgia, okay? So, you used to pay me big bucks for like 300 words, okay? So
yeah, I was probably about $8.
That was a lot of fun. Bill Castells.
Now, were you a good writer?
Absolutely. That was my major. Journalism, public relations. I loved to write. Absolutely.
Oh, we got to go back and get one of those stories, although it may have been written in crayon, but that was back in the days when you had to use a telecopier. Remember that?
4 or 6 minutes, okay? That's
4 to 6 minutes for every page, and it would half the time they would split in half, and you have to resend them again.
Yeah, or just
or dictate. Yeah, I did a lot of heavy dictation. Yeah. All right, my man. Okay. Thanks so much for joining us, and we appreciate you being on Another Dooley Noted Podcast. Thanks so much, Greg McGarrity.
Have fun, Pat. Merry Christmas.
All right, same to you, buddy. Cool. Oh, I was trying to think of what I wanted to say. Yeah, I wanted to say, by the way, and thanks so much to Greg McGarrity. He's such a good guy. Funny story. And I don't know what's going to happen to bowl games. I really don't. Like, I was watching the Bahamas Bowl today. I don't care who wins, but it was football. So I'm one of the weirdos, By the way, Monday's show, Greg McElroy. So we're going back-to-back Greg Macs. Greg McGarrity. Greg McElroy is scheduled to join us on Monday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to do the show. We're not going to have a Friday show. In other words, and I'll put this on all the social media as well, because obviously Friday is Christmas Eve. Now, I don't want to be, what was his name? Frank, in Scrooge, Bill Murray's character, Frank Connor, maybe? Anyway, who put a live show on Christmas Eve and everybody, and that was the whole premise of it. He worked for a TV station. Anyway, so we're not, but it'll be up, but we'll put it up. We're going to do it live on Wednesday. It's a special show. And I'm going to make Robbie wear a Santa hat, and we'll have some fun with it. We'll give some gifts away, and we will do the picks for Leonardo's quick picks. We'll do the pick, I should say. So you got 2 more chances to qualify, today and Monday. A lot of you qualified. We'll get to that, but we got to take a break. We have to do that right now. We'll be back with more of Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI, live from the Shackow and Mercadante studios at Steve Spurrier's Grill.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Car accidents, trucking accidents, motorcycle accidents, and wrongful death. If injured or killed by the negligence of others, who will fight for the compensation you deserve? Shackow and Mercadante, 5 lawyers, more than 100 years of combined legal experience, millions in settlements and verdicts. Call Shackow and Mercadante, 371-3000. Rebuilding lives.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. The Gainesville Quarterback Club wants you to be a member. The football season is over, except for the bowl game, of course, but they are taking applications to be a member, and there is another one in the spring where they have the first spring game where they have the head coach, Billy Napier. You will be there, I would assume. Maybe our first chance to really talk to him. I'm looking forward to that one. But they're taking applications for the oldest quarterback club in the Gator Nation. Simply email a request to membership@qbclub.org or just email me or just call me. You know how to get a hold of me, 317-3444. My number may be the most known number in the world. It's like right behind 867-5309. But don't worry about it. Call me. I will get you hooked up with the right people. I'm recommending it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Drip Co. To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam Drip Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it. Okay. What happened? Oh God, Raiders Browns just got postponed. Man. It is bad, and it's kind of funny that it's a good lead-in to our Three Things with Hand Law. And, of course, Three Things is presented every Monday and Friday by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. Just hand.law. I used to screw that up before, yeah, and now I did it again. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. We love Chris Hand, and we had a couple of conversations about some things over the weekend. It was an interesting weekend, to say the least. But yeah, that was going to be the number one thing on Hand Law, which we were going to get to, and then boom, it goes. Games are getting canceled all over the place. Basketball, football, hockey. I know a hockey game they played one hockey game with no fans, and then they canceled another one today. I was really looking forward to Kentucky versus Ohio State, because obviously Florida beat Ohio State and is going to have to try to beat Kentucky twice or once, or maybe. I mean, I'd like to beat them twice. But anyway, I just wanted to watch that game. That game got canceled. Then they rescheduled because they were all out in Vegas. So Kentucky and North Carolina go, well, neither one of us have COVID problems, so we'll play. But I've said this a million times. This thing's not over, guys. It may be with us the rest of our lives. It really might. But I'm not trying to be a doomsday guy, but I'm just saying it's – and I've gotten guilty of that. I've gotten where I wear a mask less, and I probably am being stupid to do that, and it's just a problem. I was talking to, and I don't want to give anything away, but last night we were up at Visors, and Billy Donovan's son works up there, and I was talking to him because they have 10 guys who have tested positive, and they're going to have to cancel some games. It is what it is. And look, I know that a lot of people get mad. They go, well, look, these guys are all asymptomatic. Yeah, but so let's put them around a bunch of people and let them give it to everybody else and see how they are. See if they're not asymptomatic. Look, I'm totally vaccinated. I got the booster shot, and I still am scared out of my mind about this thing. It's just not going away, and it's sad in so many ways. It's so many levels. The number one level being people who've lost their life, people who have really had their Christmas ruined already. But I can live with not having games. Look, I think we all kind of fell into this cushion of, we get the vaccine, everybody's going, you got your shots, great. Let's go up to each other and talk right in your face. I got a little bit of that last night, to be honest with you, where I got in the car with Karen and I went, I think I got COVID. She goes, what do you mean? I go, everybody just was spitting in my face the whole night. Anyway. All right, that's number one. All right, number two, we'll try to go on a more positive note. Is it me or is the NFL getting really interesting? And I say that. Now, again, games getting canceled. I know that. But there is, and I'm curious how all that's going to play out. In other words, your game gets canceled. You finish a half game back. I mean, they don't have the extra week, I guess. I don't know what they'll do. I guess they could make the Super Bowl, if there were teams involved, you could make the Super Bowl without a week in between or 2 weeks in between. I don't know. But it is getting really interesting. And I tell you what, lately it seems like every time I watch an NFL game, I'm like, that was a great game. I'm not as big an NFL fan as I am a college fan, but the NFL is wooing me over this year. That game last night, between the Chargers and the Chiefs that went to overtime was great. The game Monday night was great. I mean, it just seems like it's really getting interesting. And again, we're getting near the end of the playoffs, and we may be sitting here to go back to number one on hand laws, three things. We may be sitting here going, "Oh man, I thought they were going to win it all this year, but then their quarterback got COVID." That's not out of the realm of possibility. I have been fighting through COVID with my team, my fantasy team, guys getting COVID and getting canceled out the last day before the game, but I'm not going to worry about that. All right. And finally, I know this for a fact, Evan, and I make sure you can corroborate with me. Florida plays basketball this year, right? They're playing basketball because everybody's forgotten about these guys because they had exams off. Now they get a game Saturday playing USF, which isn't great. But Texas Southern wasn't great. There's no way I can go into any game with this Florida basketball team and go, well, they'll blow them out. No, I don't know. They might. They might also lose. So, but they do play USF. It's at 1 o'clock at sunrise. So the cool thing about this weekend is we do have enough going on to kind of get us to the real good bowl games next weekend. And, of course, the Florida game next Thursday and everything. So that is the three things by hand law. I went on a couple of rants there, but hopefully they don't take up too much time. All right, it is time for the Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. This is a good one. I like this one a lot. I have to pat myself on the back. But you know what else I have to pat on the back? Hub Brown, who is the dean of the journalism school now. I have still not met him, even though I'm over there every day. I still have not met him, but he's on a different floor. But he tweeted this out, and I didn't even realize it, but he was right. And this is how the University of Florida dominates broadcasting in sports. Nobody does what University of Florida does. Whether it's Jesse Palmer, Chris Collinsworth. I mean, there's what would the Hall of Fame look, or what would the Mount Rushmore of announcers that went to Florida look like? Like Collinsworth and Palmer might have to be up there, but there's so many, and they're everywhere. Last night, both sideline reporters were UF journalism graduates. How about that? You know Erin Andrews very well. She's very sweet. She needs to come on my podcast. I think she might have changed phone numbers. Maybe it was because of me. Stalker. And Christina Pink, who also went to journalism school at Florida and got a degree here. It's pretty cool. But that happens all the time. Oh, Kevin Carter, Alex Brown, James Bates. The list just goes on and on. Missy Aggart Whittemore. I still call her Missy Aggart. Of course, Trent Whittemore's mom and the wife of Mark Whittemore, who is a coach at Buell's. She was telling me last Tuesday night she was doing a game at NCAA tournament in Pittsburgh. She's all over the place. I could go on and on. I mean, Stephanie Sorensen. It's just Gators are everywhere, man. There's nothing you can do about it. It used to be everybody said, "Oh well, I went to Syracuse. That's the greatest journalism." Florida is where you go. You go to Florida, you get on TV. Heather Mitts, Dara Torres. We can keep going. We can go all day. All day. Bridget Sloan. I can go all day. You want me to go all day? No. Okay. Urban Meyer. I don't think he'll get a gig on TV for a while. At some point, somebody's got to say, hey, here's a list of things that you may have done. It's not good. We don't want to hire you. And I think that it's going to be hard for him to get a college job for that very same reason. So the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the Week. Gators of the Week today. Christina Pink and Erin Andrews. I'm sure that Erin will put that right up there with her Dancing of the Stars award and her. I'm sure she's won Emmys. Right up there with it, Erin. Don't forget. I don't know Christina Pink, but I would be interested to get her on here sometime. Okay, so there you go. What? I wrote something down here. I can't. Anyway. All right. That is our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the Week. And of course, we'll have a Gator of the Weekend on Monday. We are live on Another Dooley Noted Podcast from the presented by Titan MRI from the Shack Allen Mercantile Studios. And we are ready for Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. Oh, baby. You guys killed it. Now, I made fun of you because you all picked Army, and you were all wrong. This week, you all picked the Chargers. You had to go to overtime. And if they kick a field goal, because it was 3.5, if they kick a field goal and end up winning by field goal, you all lose, but you all won because of Travis Kelce, who's named after my daughter. I think that's pretty nice. Kelsey. Yeah. So we had a ton of qualifiers, and like I said, our show on Wednesday of next week, we're going to do a special early Christmas show on Wednesday. Robbie Andrew will be in here in a Santa hat. I'm promising that. We will, we'll pull our next Leonardo's at Millhopper winner. You'll win $25 at Leonardo's and a bunch of other really cool stuff. I promise you that. It's going to be good stuff. Maybe some golf balls in there too. All right, so you got 2 more chances to qualify today and on Monday, and then we'll pull it on Wednesday. Again, Wednesday show, not Friday, because of the holiday. All right, here it's very simple. The Celebration Bowl. Celebrate good times. Come on. Guess who's playing in that one? Jackson State. Whoa, Nelly. They're 10-point favorites over South Carolina State. So, and again, Travis Knight's not going to be playing for them, the number 1 pick. He's not going to be playing. He may never play for them. I didn't even want to get into all that stuff, and I'm not really gonna. And I had all this stuff written down about the transfer portal, people that had left, and I was like, figure it all out. Everybody knows everybody that's going. Emory Jones in the transfer portal. So, good luck to you, Emory. You did your best. Unfortunately, your best wasn't good enough for these fans, and it wasn't good. To be honest, wasn't good enough for me. You made too many mistakes. Hopefully, you go down there and you ball out and you do tremendous things in the Gasparilla Bowl, and you go somewhere, maybe somewhere like a Duke or Louisville, or somebody had a great Robbie. I think again with Robbie's genius had a great landing spot for him. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, Jackson Spade or David Spade. Jackson State is giving 10 to South Carolina State. So get your winner in. You know how to get it in. I will put it up online as well. As we get into bowl season, we'll have a lot of bowl games on that list. Of course, next week we'll probably have something to do with the Florida UCF game, and we'll talk about that as well. All right, it is time right now for the Hesser and Kipke games of the weekend. We appreciate Hesser and Kipke. Of course, they are also sponsors of the Monday Spreads, and obviously that's going to change a little bit with basketball, but we're going to get some NFL stuff in there as well. But the games of the weekend are brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. I had nice things to say about Ken's coach, James Franklin, the other day on the radio, just so you know. I thought he was pretty eloquent what he was talking about. Can't remember what it was. I don't know. Anyway, so this is what we're going to have to, we're going to kind of work through the games because of all the different sports that are going on right now. So here are the games of the weekend right now for this week. I'm going to go with football. I'm going to go with Marshall, Louisiana this weekend. And the reason, I don't know what bowl it is, Don't Have It Bowl or no, they're in some bowl game. I don't know what it is. But anyway, they're playing. And the only reason, and Louisiana is a 5-point favorite, the only reason to be into it is because Louisiana people love the Gators now. It's amazing how they love Billy Napier so much that they are rooting for him and they're rooting for Florida. And I've seen this on Twitter where Florida fans are rooting back. And they've developed this love. And why not love the other team in Louisiana? Don't love LSU. Hate LSU. Can't stand them. Costanza. Can't stand them. Love Louisiana. So I'm watching that game. That's my football game of the weekend. Basketball, I'm going to go. And now, again, they just scheduled that Kentucky-North Carolina game, and I'll be curious to see how that goes because of the COVID situation. But Gonzaga, number 5 in the country, playing Texas Tech, who's ranked number 25. That'll be a fun game to watch. I'm curious whether that Texas Tech defense can handle Gonzaga. And then the NFL game, to me, is Saturday. So thank you for giving us stuff to watch on Saturday. It's hard to wean us off college football. But New England at Indianapolis, I can't say the word. Indianapolis, that'll be a great game. I actually think the Colts are going to win that game. But that'll be a fascinating game as well. Those are the Hesser and Kipke games of the weekend. Thank you so much for Hesser and Kipke for being great sponsors of so many things here. Last but not least, the Ballyhoo, Darshackow Insurance, Ironwood, this, that, and the other. We appreciate all of them as well. Ballyhoo got a shout-out on at Napier's recruiting press conference. Yeah, they got a shout-out. Good for them. They did. And Spurriers did, yeah, exactly, as well. All right, this was Billy's first presser when he said, look, we may not sign anybody on signing day. I mean, we may not sign anybody. Don't get all excited. And Gator fans went, well, wait a minute. This guy's supposed to do kind of like really cool things we haven't seen in a long time. Okay, we'll give you an hour until we're going to get mad at you. That is that we went into signing day as the least anticipated signing day ever. Everybody was like, hopefully there's a surprise. And then, of course, the other is that there were a lot of surprises, and Florida did really well. Now, while I say that, I also want to remind everybody else did good too in the SEC. Texas A&M has the best class. You go on the road to play them next year. Georgia had the second best class. You play them in Jacksonville next year. That stuff is not going away. Well, all you hope to do is catch them, get as good a players as they get. Are you going to pass them? It's going to be hard to do. It's been built up over years. But anyway, that's this, that, and the other. And thank you so much to Ballyhoo Restaurant. Dar Shackow Insurance, and to Ironwood Golf Course. Thanks so much to all our sponsors. Hand Law, of course, Adams Ribco, To Go, Leonardo's Quick Picks, and I think I'm going Ribco To Go tonight. I think I'm definitely going to do that. Karen, I think, is going to be out of town. Hesser and Kipke, and all of our great sponsors, Titan MRI, Shackow and Mercadani Studios. I love you guys so much. We will be back Monday. Hopefully, we'll be with Greg McElroy. I only say hopefully because sometimes you think you're going to get somebody and you don't. But we're probably going to have Greg McElroy on. And then, of course, Wednesday, our Christmas show with Robbie Andrew. Thanks so much to Evan. Is this really the hair you let me go with all day? Oh, my God. Oh, it looks terrible. Well, I don't look good ever. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody. And we will be back with you Monday and Wednesday of next week. Until next time, for Evan, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I'm way back, and I am out of here.